Silver Surfer
Yep.
being female.
Yes.
And how wrong that was, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So this week's hidden gem is all the reasons why you have options to have different characters. You don't have to regender these characters.
Did you just make that up?
I just made that up. You
like
see how that works?
Yeah.
Regender.
Dude, that's right up there with Tom Cruisery.
Exactly. So you don't have to regender a character in order to make them fit. There are so many characters already out there that will work with whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
And this week's hidden gem is just that character. All right. So this is Nova. Now, not to be confused with the other Nova, right? Just like the Marvels. This is not Nova. This is not the Nova Corps. This is not the Nova Corps.
Right.
None of that stuff. This is Nova. She is a human that got her powers by an accident, like Spider-Man, everybody else.
Yep.
But ultimately, she goes on to become a Herald of Galactus.
Okay.
Matter of fact, she is the Herald of Galactus after the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Okay. So her backstory. So back in the 40s, I think, this guy, her father, actually created the original Human Torch. He was an android, and like Pym particles, he had some special substance or particles that could make you make a substance like turn on flame and be able to control it and give the body powers. In this case, an android. So he created the original Human Torch, and alongside, Captain America, Namor, things like that, back in World War II, World War One, I think it was II.
Yeah.
In the comic book world, they fought together, so on and so forth. At some point, the Human Torch, that version of the Human Torch went away. The scientists got put away.
Yeah.
Years later, he had a daughter with a lady. The lady died like a year after they got married, but they had a child, which is Frankie Ray.
Okay.
So some more time goes on, and he rediscovers, or they locked away his experiments because they were too dangerous. So years later, because it was locked away for so long and nobody paid attention, he broke into the place, got the stuff, but he brought his daughter with him, Frankie Ray.
Okay.
And, she was able to, handle the stuff. She was doing good, but I guess the floorboarding, right? I mean, convenient. The floorboarding in the factory or whatever broke away, and the container that she had were these particles that this guy had made, and it spread all over her. And instead of her burning up, it turned her into basically a version of the Human Torch.
Okay.
The dude freaked out. He basically erased her memory. He put locks and keys, kind of like Reed Richards did to Franklin, so he couldn't use the power.
Yeah.
So later on, all these powers came out. Now at this point, she's older. She's working in the UN. She meets Johnny Storm. She knows what Johnny Storm does because Johnny Storm was, Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. They were a family that didn't hide their identities. They were just completely open. Yeah. So she knew who he was, but her father not only locked away her memories about her powers, he also gave her an aversion to fire. So she was afraid of fire.
Oh, shit.
So she got in a relationship with Johnny Storm, knowing
even though she
who
was
he
afraid
was.
of fire.
Right. So one day, she's doing some stuff and comes out, her powers emerge, and, they go into this whole thing. She became like, part of Fantastic Four, 4.5 or 4.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but she's never on missions. She's always sidelined. That, creates some tension. So at some point, Galactus comes in. This is at post Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer, he's already gone and done his thing. And they battle Galactus, kind of defeat him, but of course, he's a human. He's a entity. He's a living being, so that they don't actually kill him. In the meantime, Frankie, who's not in the fight, is doing research, finds out about Galactus, what he does, and offers to be his herald if he spares Earth.
Okay.
And of course, Johnny's butthurt because that's his girlfriend or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she goes off, don't even think about him, and goes around because she doesn't have a problem finding inhabited worlds for Galactus.
Okay.
At some point, she catches up with, or Silver Surfer catches up with her and starts showing her all these worlds and start bringing out that emotion in her. Now she's, feeling some kind of way about, leading Galactus to all these planets and stuff. So at some point she decides that she doesn't want to do it anymore. A bunch of different things happen. She goes off into space with Silver Surfer. Galactus gets another Herald, Mongol or something like that, who actually ends up killing her.
Okay.
But before that, something happened. She ends up being a stripper in some intergalactic bar. I mean, she's just like all over the place. With these powers. So you can only imagine that if she's like a stripper in a bar someplace, the level of power in the people that's around her in the bar, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So her power makes her normal around all the other people that she's around. So anyway, they bring her back, and ultimately this Mongol guy, Galactus's next Herald, kills her. And then there's a version where Mephisto brings her back and, things like that. But so Nova, going through what she has been going through, from basically an orphan to Galactus's Herald, she's gone, that's a whole range. That's several lifetimes, which makes her very interesting to me. Her power set was basically that of the Human Torch before she became Galactus's Herald. Now, as Galactus's Herald, that's magnified, to the nth degree.
Okay.
She can fly faster than the speed of light. Her strength, she's, pretty much invulnerable. She's been punched from Earth to the moon. She survived that. She can pretty much manipulate any energy that can be put out by a star, heat, light, radiation, all the microwaves, all that stuff. So she's pretty badass. And but my point about her is that, and I actually forgot about her, but when I was looking for a hidden gem, so Galactus has had several, like 8 or 10 different heralds before Silver Surfer. When Silver Surfer came out, that's how I knew about Galactus, through Silver Surfer, through Fantastic Four. So I didn't really know on the onset that there were other heralds beside the Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer to Galactus was like, I don't know, Venom to Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They kind of coexisted together. One didn't exist without the other one.
Right.
But there were heralds before Silver Surfer, and obviously there were heralds after, Frankie Ray, Nova being one of them.
Okay.
So I think this is a pretty cool, and she's shown up in several animated shows.
Yeah.
I think she was in, not as Nova, but the person Frankie Ray showed up in at least one live action movie.
Yeah, I did read that, the Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer,
right?
Which is, I haven't seen that movie in years.
Uh-huh.
I remember it being kind of
cheesy,
but like it fit the time, right?
Exactly.
And I do remember it being cool seeing Silver Surfer on screen, like, because I always thought he was a really cool character. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I remember having a toy because it was shiny as hell, and it was like one of those coolest looking toys. But yeah, I did read, and I don't remember her from the movie, but I did read that the Frankie Ray character was in there. But to your point, it wasn't Nova, right?
Right. She was a military person, I think, in there. So that's the hidden gem. To the point about reprising a role of an existing character under another gender makes no sense to me. Because here we have a perfect example of, if you want Silver Surfer, bring back Silver Surfer,
right?
But don't bring Silver Surfer back as something else other than what the original character is. Because if you want a female, here you go. The very next Herald is a female,
right?
That's just as cool, has all the power sets. I don't get it. I don't get it. So this week's hidden gem wasn't about just a hidden gem. It was about, so we have even more characters that can fit the roles of any movie,
right?
Instead of regenderizing, somebody else that's a beloved, because Silver Surfer, people love Silver Surfer, including myself.
Yeah.
So just don't mess it up, please.
Right, I'm with you. And I mean, yeah, even looking at the design of this character, it's like you could even pull off a similar look. 'Cause if that's your reason, well, we love the way Silver Surfer looks on screen. Dude, you got something that looks just like it.
Yep.
Like, okay, it's a little more, reddish than silver, but very similar. And to your point, why change? But this is awesome. And I saw the name Frankie Ray, I had no idea. And then I was opening it, Nova. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't we already do Nova? But this is, it's nothing to do with the other Nova at all. And you were a big Fantastic Four guy, right?
Yep.
Like, you love Fantastic Four. Is that where you first saw her?
Yeah, I first saw it. So Fantastic Four attracted me because so Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Fantastic Four attracted me pretty much for the same reasons.
Yeah.
The tech.
Yeah.
I was real big into tech, still big. Well, not as big into tech now. But I was real big into tech, and so those two attracted me to those. That attracted me to those characters, which put all these other people on my radar.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, no, this is good. And there's one here where I see she kind of looks like the Human Torch,
right?
But she has basically, or started with powers just like him,
right? She didn't. So her power set was such that she was more like an aura around her, like the crown of her head, and would glow basically, as opposed to like the Human Torch. Both of them, the Johnny Storm version and the original android Human Torch, that fought along Captain America and Namor back in the day.
Yeah,
their whole bodies basically turn into like a matchstick.
Yeah.
Which she does not. So you can still see her form. And that became even more personified when she became Galactus' Herald.
Yeah.
Her body was like more golden kind of a deal, but she still had the aura. She was more like a phoenix look to her as opposed to a Human Torch look to her.
Yes. In this picture I'm seeing here, this one is from, she was in the New Avengers in 2008, and Jim Cheung drew her. But yeah, it does give me kind of Phoenix vibes, almost like a Phoenix mixed with Silver Surfer. Like,
right.
Yeah. This would be I'd be cool to see on screen. Now, who would win, Frankie Ray versus Silver Surfer?
Well, they both had the same power sets.
Yeah.
But I think probably Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer has the ability to manipulate matter to a degree. And she has, but I mean, she also has the ability to basically emit any of the powers that could be emitted by a star. But I would still give it to Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Be a good fight, though, sounds
like.
Oh,
definitely.
Cool. Well, guys, hey, another good week on, or another good hidden gem to add to the list. If you like that hidden gem, check out the playlist on our YouTube page. Up next, Adrian.